The country is divided up into two main linguistic communities, one Dutch and one French, although German is also spoken in a very small region. In the second half of the 20th century, the state structure was overhauled and Belgium was given a federal government. Belgium's second king, Leopold II, wanted to make his mark on the country's history with splendid buildings, most of which can be found in Brussels. They date back to his time, and they rival those in any other major European city. In his own grounds at the castle of Laeken, he had beautiful greenhouses erected and started an impressive collection of exotic plants.
Welcome back to Global Village. I'm Buddy Cunan, and tonight's topic is Belgian-Philippine relations. And our guest is none other than a very good friend of the Philippines, Ambassador Roland van Remurtele. Ambassador, welcome back to our second segment. Now, we've been showing all these beautiful videos of Belgium, and I tell you, stunning. Just absolutely stunning landscape, beautiful monuments and all that. And it's interesting and surprising that a lot of people actually, go to Europe, myself included, and I'm in Europe maybe once, twice a year, and we hardly know Belgium. For us, it's a country that maybe we passed through, maybe stopped and had a meal, and that's it.
If it's Tuesday, this must be Belgium, something like that, You remember the movie from the 60s, yeah. No, if I divide Europe in two large parts, if you like, the southern part, the more frivolous, Spain, Italy, Portugal, France. Belgium is there in the middle, the southern part of Belgium belongs to the southern part of Europe, and then the northern part belongs to the more serious part of Europe, Netherlands, Germany, Scandinavia, that sort of thing. So Belgium is like a focal point, where both main cultures of Europe, I would say,
it's a crossroads.
Are crossroads, There is a historical reason for that, but that will take us far too long. But yeah, many times, people, they tell me, they've been to the UK, and then they took a train to France, and then they took them on a bus to the Netherlands. But somewhere along the line, they stopped in a city and they visited a magnificent square. I always tell them, congratulations, you were in Belgium, you were in Brussels, the Grand Place in Brussels. Oh, really? Oh, okay. They only spent half an hour there, but at least they've been there.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know what it is, why, I mean, there's so many...
Absolutely.
So many places to... our historical cities, Bruges. Please don't go to Bruges in summertime, because you'll be, you'll be pushed away by the throngs of Japanese and Chinese tourists that are there, and Americans and other nationalities. Because it's a medieval city.
Yes.
It's a bit like Venice, with all the little canals all over the city. Then Ghent is another historical city with the main castle in Ghent dating back to the 11th century.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of history there. And then the southern part of Belgium for nature lovers is a dream, rivers, woods, forests.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Actually, Ambassador, when I was doing research for this show, and I was quite embarrassed because, as I said, I don't know Belgium. It's one of those countries in Europe that I unfortunately don't know a lot about. And so when I did the research, I was amazed. Apparently Belgium has the most number of castles per relative to its size.
That's right.
And you've got you've got it's a culinary destination, a powerhouse.
Yeah.
You've got 800 and counting beers.
No, more than 800 different types of beer. Yeah.
And of course, you're strong with chocolates, and of course, who can resist Belgian waffles?
That's right.
So, but that's
right.
a scratch of the surface of your country. There's so much to offer.
Yeah. No, it really has a lot to offer. Beside the culinary delights, and that even for the serious gourmet, there are more Michelin star restaurants in Belgium per head of population than there are in France. And I always remember a couple of Singapore friends of ours when we were back in Belgium. My wife sort of made them an itinerary in Europe. I think they spent about a month in Europe, and they've been to France and this and that, and she sort of made an itinerary for them. Boy, were they glad that they were back in Belgium. Better food, better this, better that, and so on and so on. They enjoyed it a lot.
Yes, yes.
So, and there's so much to see. As I said, historical cities.
Absolutely, absolutely. How many days would you recommend for people to visit? Okay, it's not a big country. I understand
It's
only
not a big
30,000
country,
square
and
kilometers.
it's very, very easy to get around.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you arrive in Brussels. I mean, you can come from anywhere in Europe. Now we have a very extensive train system. You can take a train in London, and in 2.5 hours you're in the center of Brussels. You can take the train from Paris. In an hour and 15 minutes you're in Brussels.
Wow, imagine that.
So I would say it depends a bit on what you want. Do you want a bit of culture, a bit of history? Take at least a week. Yeah, take at least a week. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that would be. But then there is so. You know, there's a number of Filipinos that go to Belgium for pilgrimage.
Okay, okay.
As well, because there are two sites in Belgium famous for apparition of the Virgin Mary, and the other one I'm not exactly sure anymore, or what was it about. But yeah, it's a pilgrimage site as well.
Yes, it's interesting, Ambassador, that how Belgium seems to. I mean, all these facts about Belgium that we don't know, and even Brussels. It's kind of like fallen off the radar because people seem to tend to focus on Paris or maybe the bigger cities around them. But if you look at Brussels, I understand it is actually the second in terms of international presence.
Oh yeah,
it's the second after New York.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's a
Exactly.
dynamic city.
No. You put your finger on it. There's more. There is. Of course, there is New York and the UN and so on, but the second city in the world with the largest number of diplomats is Brussels.
That is something.
So it's a very international city.
I always thought it was Paris, maybe, or.
Oh no, much more than
Geneva,
Paris.
or-
Much more than Paris or Geneva. Yeah, because not only do you have, we're the seat of the EU, European Union, we're also the seat of NATO, the organization. So all these ambassadors and whatever diplomats are there. But then there are, I would say, hundreds of associations, NGOs, and so on, related to either the EU or pressure groups and this and that are all represented in Brussels. So they're all there. And you will not be surprised if you sit in a cafe in Brussels sipping one of our famous beers and enjoying a good meal, that you will hear Turkish, Finnish, an American, wherever, any nationality, they will be there. They will be there.
It's a really dynamic place, and even your society. You're talking about how you have the influence of the Germanic side of Belgium from the Flemish side, so which is actually very, very it contributes to your culture's efficiency and punctuality and all that. But you also have the southern part, which is, as you said, maybe the more Latin, more romance.
More Latin-oriented, but at the end of the day, they're all Belgians, and even in the south, people will be punctual.
Yes.
It's just, it's so ingrained. You will not appear anywhere, even 10 minutes late.
Yes.
We don't do that. On the contrary, you usually appear early.
Ambassador, was it difficult for you to get used to our Filipino time? You're coming from your
in the beginning,
Flemish
yes.
background.
Yeah. In the beginning, especially, and then sometimes you make arrangements with people here, and then they don't show up. And when you meet them a couple of days later, and you say, well, I was expecting you. Oh yeah, but I was somewhere else, and I could, we would, if you can't make it, you give a phone call, or you let people know, or this or that. It's sort of more organized in that sense. But I like a bit of chaos every now and then.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
But aside from being, okay, that whole punctuality thing and the efficiency that the Germanic side of Belgium obviously contributes to, it's also a very dynamic, liberal, open society. I understand that you one of the first countries to make euthanasia, for instance, legal, and same-sex marriages.
LGTB rights, yes,
Yes.
exactly. You know, same-sex marriages. They can now adopt children, even. You know, so yeah, we're in the forefront
Very
of
progressive
that.
in that
Yeah,
sense.
very
huh?
progressive. Yeah.
Progressive government, progressive legal system as well, and all that.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, and moreover, we're also one of the founding members of the EU, and
Of
since
course.
we're a small country, we're very reputed to always look for compromise. You know, we don't antagonize anybody. We make sure that at the end of the day, there will be a compromise, and it's usually Belgium inspired. You know, when things like that happen.
I guess it's because of that, of your unique position being,
Yeah.
as I mentioned, the crossroads of two traditionally great powers
Yeah,
that
yeah.
have made you this pragmatic,
Absolutely,
maybe. This
absolutely.
pragmatic, and I'm sure this extends to your diplomacy, your
Oh
your
yes.
diplomatic
Yeah.
initiatives. No?
Yeah. We're very pragmatic. For example, we're running for a non-permanent seat in the Security Council for 2019-2020. We've been there 5 times before. And people like us in New York. Why? Because again, you know, we're a small country, so we don't have any hidden agendas or anything. And second, we look for compromise. You know, we listen to everybody, and then we distill the common elements in that, and we make sure that at the end of the day there is an agreement. So
Very
we're that's part of our diplomacy, definitely.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, you know, it's always been in the back of my head. I never really put much thought to it, but I always wondered why NATO headquarters and the EU were located in Belgium. But now it makes it's very clear now. When you look at the cultural, influence, it went to
And
that
also
decision.
because we're very welcoming, you know, a bit like the Philippines. Filipinos are also very welcoming. Belgians are very welcoming. They're very welcoming as well. The difference being that here you meet a Filipino and you're immediate friends, right? Belgians are a bit more, and probably that's the Germanic influence, a bit more reserved.
A little bit more work.
Once you break through that barrier, and it doesn't take too long, you have a friend for life. And that's part of being Belgian.
Well, you know, they say the good things in life you have to work for.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of work, but as you said, it's worth it, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about friendship. Philippines-Belgian friendship. How would you characterize the relations between the two countries today?
Very good, but I'm always a bit annoyed because I find them a bit empty, and I explain myself. The last foreign minister visiting the Philippines from Belgium dates back to 1993. Okay? Now, we're in Asia, and if there is one thing that I know in Asia, to entertain friendships, you have to visit one another. You know, it's very important.
Yes.
So that is something that could be improved. But then it's understandable because our foreign minister, who usually is also deputy prime minister, so his first priority would be internal politics, and then foreign affairs. And our first priority would be Europe.
Yes.
In that,
With all the turbulence, the change is happening there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then by extension, we would have the Middle East, because it's close by, it's neighboring, and then Africa because of our colonial heritage, our colonial past, and then of course, you know, the wider world, US, and then Asia, and then you have China, Japan, Korea in Asia, and then Southeast Asia is somewhere at the bottom. So it's and being a foreign minister, if you go on a visit, you'll be away for yeah, a week or maybe longer, and sometimes they can't afford to. You know.
Yes. Yes.
And let's not forget, taking a plane from Brussels coming to the Philippines, you're away for all told, you know, with layovers and
25
this
hours,
and that.
25,
it's,
30 hours, yeah.
yeah, exactly. You know, there's 24 hours coming and 24 hours going back. So it's difficult. I understand. But I wish they could come more often.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are the pillars holding relations up between the countries now? Between the two countries? Would it be trade? Would it be aid? What would be the main focus of our relations?
Well, I would especially be trade. But of course, politically, we also have a joint plan of action, so where we try and do certain things together and help each other. But trade, especially, I mean, Philippines trades with Belgium and exports quite a number of products and goods. So do we. You know, we have a long history with the Philippines. The young Filipinos will not remember, but the first LRT-1 in the Philippines was built by Belgium.
Wow, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you see, there you
I
go.
didn't know that, no.
There's a lot of things that, yeah. When I go back in history, I mean, maybe, you know, just a short intermezzo on history, which I usually tell when I talk to students. You know, when Magellan arrived in the Philippines, of course, Belgium did not exist as a country then, but Flanders did exist as an entity. Many of the seafarers aboard the ships of Magellan were Flemish.
Okay.
They were from Flanders. Then, if I make a jump forward in history, our second king, Leopold II, you know, being king of a small country and being surrounded by big powers like Britain, France, Germany, Netherlands, who all had big colonies abroad, he said, you know, why should I be a king of such a small left behind? So, and at the time, Queen Isabella of Spain, you know, Spain was in dire financial straits.
Okay.
So he made an offer to Spain to buy the Philippines.
Okay.
But, well, fortunately or unfortunately, depends how you look at it, he got turned down, didn't offer enough money, and used that money to pay somebody else to explore parts of Africa, and that's how we ended up with Congo, Rwanda, and Burundi. Another jump forward, early 20th century, we had a lot of missionaries arriving in the Philippines. In fact, almost a bit by accident, because they were due to go to China. But because of the turbulence in China and the revolution, the Boxer revolution and so on, they were diverted and ended up here and made themselves very useful, I must say, in terms of education, social work, etc., etc. When people look at Baguio Cathedral, they forget that it wasn't built by the Belgian, you know, brick by brick, but it was built by local people. But the design and all that was done by the Belgian priests.
I didn't even know that. And I'm from Baguio. I didn't even know that.
St. Louis University is a Belgian university. Well, was a Belgian university.
How interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Ambassador,
So,
how interesting.
Yeah. So then again a jump, you know, I go to the early 80s here, you know, the building of the LRT and so on. So yeah, we have a long common history.
Ambassador, this has been such an interesting show, even for me on a personal level, because I've learned so much about your country, and you know, I make it a point to visit Belgium next time in Europe. But fortunately, an hour goes by very fast.
Yeah.
Too little time. But before we go, would you like to say something to the audience? Maybe invite them to visit your lovely country?
Yeah, absolutely. No, if you like chocolate, if you like good food, if you like culture, if you like nature, only one place to go in Europe, that's Belgium. Welcome, apply for a visa, we'll make sure that you get it, and you'll be very welcome.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Ambassador,
Okay.
pleasure to have you in the show, and Godspeed, and good luck in
you.
your future endeavors, and I hope we see
very
you
much.
back here in another capacity sometime soon.
Yeah, why not?
Thank you.
Sure.
So
Thank you.
guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight's show on Philippine-Belgian relations. Join us again next week here on Global Village and let us take you around the world. Till next week, you all have a good evening.